Welcome, everyone around the world, to CNN 10. We are a 10-minute, down-the-middle explanation of world events, and I'm your host, Carl Azuz. This is a day of firsts. This is the first official show of our fall season. Awesome. This is the first time we've kicked off a semester outside the CNN Center, thanks coronavirus. And this is the first time that virtual political conventions are largely replacing physical ones. Conventions are where America's major political parties formally nominate their candidates for president, and where they define their party platforms, what they stand for, and what they plan to do ahead of the presidential election. Traditionally, the party that doesn't hold the White House has its convention first, and the 2020 Democratic National Convention starts Monday and runs through Thursday. These meetings will be mostly virtual, except for a small gathering of delegates in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and will nominate former Vice President Joe Biden for the presidency. The 2020 Republican National Convention will meet next week from Monday through Thursday. These meetings will also be largely virtual, except for a scaled-down event in Charlotte, North Carolina, and will nominate incumbent President Donald Trump for a second presidential term. These unusual online events in an unusual year will be a test of technology and for the parties to galvanize voter support when they're not gathering by the thousands in person.
Here are my delegate credentials.
This is my favorite catch, is my Donald Trump bobblehead.
We can't do it like we did in 2016. That's just not realistic.
With the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, the 2020 political conventions will be dramatically different. But it's not the first time conventions have undergone a major redesign.
Especially if a party loses, the party then changes its rules. The convention process is sort of always evolving.
Conventions started in the 1830s as an attempt to make the presidential nomination process more democratic and transparent. Delegates represent the different states and vote on the nominee.
17 votes for Governor George Bush of Texas.
In early conventions, delegates were handpicked by party bosses and could vote on the candidate of their choice. But the process could be a little messy, often requiring dozens of ballots to select a nominee. There were boos and heckles, even fistfights.
The convention, maybe in general you might say that they were more exciting. Certainly they were more unpredictable.
With his mother and one of his sisters, he received the cheers of the convention.
The 1960s paved the way for the political events that we recognize today. 1960 was the first year where voters influenced the nomination through the primary process, overruling the party establishment.
And we shall win.
Both parties faced challenges throughout the decade. In 1964, the fight over civil rights for Black Americans was one of several issues that divided the Republican Party and their convention. And then there was the Democratic Convention of 1968 in Chicago, where police attacked anti-Vietnam War protesters.
What do you do after you have a convention that, shows a good deal of dissent and division in your party?
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
Parties made reforms like making delegates vote according to the primary election results, paving the way for the modern convention.
I accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
Some may debate their importance, but the parties use conventions to vote on their priorities.
We can make the right choices and meet the challenges that face us.
To boost rising political stars and build enthusiasm for the nominee and the party.
You need to excite the people who are going to get out and work and knock doors.
And there's hope for a post-convention bounce, a bump in the polling that may propel the nominee to the Oval Office.
I still believe in a place called hope.
The biggest bounce in recent history was in 1992, when Bill Clinton gained 16 percentage points.
To have a big convention is not the right time.
It's anyone's guess if 2020's mostly virtual conventions will produce similar bumps, but the delegates are still committed.
People are excited to elect Joe Biden. That's really the point of the convention.
I don't care if I have to walk around with a spacesuit on. I'm going to do whatever I can do to convince or to inform voters in my district that Trump is the best candidate.
10-second trivia. The first school bus was powered by what? Diesel fuel, steam, horse, or electricity? A school bus First designed in 1827, was a large horse-drawn carriage. There are fewer of those running during this back-to-school season, with some American districts going online because of coronavirus concerns. In a report that came out last month, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control recommended that schools reopen in the fall. It said closing them would disrupt important educational benefits and the services that schools give communities. It also cited evidence that suggested children weren't major factors in the spread of COVID-19. But some schools that have already reopened decided to close again within days because of coronavirus cases. So quality of education, safety risks, technology, and parents' ability to work are all factors in a problem with no simple solution.
Atlanta's mayor tweeting this week, quote, "It's noon and I still haven't been able to get the twins logged in." Keisha Lance Bottoms feeling the frustration of some parents across the country as they grapple with the challenges of remote learning with schools getting back in session. This week, technical problems have been especially worrisome, like in Gwinnett County, Georgia.
I went to the website, tried to log into the eClass portal, and was getting an error message for the most part.
With many students and parents unable to log in this week, the Gwinnett County District asked them to stagger their attempts to access the program. Meanwhile, the superintendent of schools in Humble, Texas, said a cyber attack on their district server blocked some students from logging into their first day of online classes this week. This comes as the debate rages over whether remote or in-person learning will work best during the pandemic.
Teachers could really benefit.
During a Zoom meeting with education specialists in recent days, one expert said a disadvantage of remote learning is that it doesn't always play to teachers' strengths.
The teachers who are the most effective teachers in what we've had so far, face-to-face typical situations, they may not be the most effective in remote environments.
And some parents of students with special needs say their kids just aren't being served as well online, like one mother who's suing California's governor over virtual learning.
I have 3 boys, 2 with a diagnosis of autism. Without that team to do that hands-on learning, they're just languishing at home. There's no type of education going on. My children cannot sit in front of a computer screen and do Zoom meetings all day long. It's just regression is profound and detrimental.
One education expert tells CNN almost no state has a specific effective plan to successfully teach online. But a clear advantage to remote learning is that it's simply safer. A parent in one Georgia county who sent her son to school for in-person classes told CNN it didn't start well.
The second day of school, my son said to me, "Mom, I don't feel safe. We're not social distancing. There's no precautions being taken to keep us safe."
And sometimes it appears remote learning can keep some top teachers in the fold. One chemistry teacher in Arizona told CNN he was given no option but to teach in person. So for his family's safety, he resigned.
A lot of us would have stayed if we had had that option, or if we had even had some kind of hybrid option to where we had smaller class sizes, we would have had a lot of us stay.
For 10 out of 10 today, it's not often that driver's license photos are the kind of shots you'd want to repost on Instagram. But one woman in Tennessee recently got a picture that really couldn't prove her identity at all. Yep, that's it, the chair. Oh, she sat in it at one point, and a picture of her was taken, but the one that was selected for the license was a little more generic. Officials admitted their mistake and fixed everything, but the woman and her friends are having fun with the original picture just to lighten the mood. She's kind of the chairperson of bad driver's license photos. Hey, at least the story has legs. 4 of them. And if she went back for an update and they said take a seat, she could reply, it already got its close-up and it was terrible. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. We've got Green Valley High School watching today, so shout out to our viewers in Henderson, Nevada. We'll see you tomorrow for more CNN.